information, I'll pass it along to you folks. We are going to discuss the rental inspection fees. This was a request made by Rita. I do have a guest here tonight by the name of Kurt Laubinger, who asked for 5 minutes. Normally at work sessions, we don't allow residents to speak, but Kurt is a quasi-government official because he's been a member on planning and he is a member of our civil service board. So Kurt, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I hope 5 minutes won't be taken by passing this out. That you'll give me an extra minute. I'm sorry, Scott.
That includes.
Thank you. Okay. What I did was look at the legislation. Somebody said I was here to bash the building department. That's far from truth. I passed out legislation and I put some things together. The first one has to do with the ordinance creating the rental property, and I don't think there's any more reason to discuss that particular thing. The next one is the chapter 1327. Just take a look at that. There's all kinds of problems, and everything I'm saying tonight is in my opinion. If you go to B, just look at that. You go to the very last page, and it says, back there, I've got some of it circled for you, revised 60710, revisions are in italics. I don't believe that that was done in 2010. Item number B, just take a look at it. You go over to fees, 1327. That's all italicized. I don't believe that was done on 607-2010. That was all done in 2012. So this whole thing needs to be re-looked at and reread, rewritten, and so forth. This should stay as a point of sale exterior inspection. You've tried to put rental property in there. It doesn't work the way it is. Read it sometime. I hope that you'll agree with me. Then next, I put in the packet, item chapter 1365. Just look at this, we're going to 1365-01. Why are we doing a rental inspection when we already have it in the ordinances? The owner, the owner of every human, you can just read the rest of it, is responsible for maintaining a clean and sanitary condition. That is the owner of the property that's being rented. Go to B. This is great. The occupant is there. The occupant needs to be responsible. That is the renter. The renter himself needs to be responsible. We need the renters to be responsible. If they're going to take pride in being here, they need to take pride in being in this community. If they don't, fine, the renter doesn't have to do anything there. That needs to be done. But then go over to 1365-08. Everything that needs to be done there, start at the bottom, says what has to be done. You've said nothing. What do you expect the renters to do? This outlines, it's already in our law. 1365, turn to the next page. It does everything. It talks about cars, it talks about furniture, everything having to do with junk laying around. Not only for the renter, but for the homeowner too. Why are we singling out rental people when you've got homeowners that are the same thing? Go up to the corner of Long and Eaton and take a look at a house up there that's owned by an individual and look at the junk around there. Why aren't we citing him? Why do we have to do renters? Okay, then if you go to the next page, it says tenant reports. And part of that rental thing was because, as I understood it, you want to know who's living in these houses. I agree we should know who's living here. But we already have a law that says tenant reports, not only for the residents, but for commercial. We need to know who's living and moving into our places. We already have a law for that. All you need to do is put something together. And then after that, how are we penalizing people? 1365-99 shows a penalty. Right now, you send a letter out, I get a letter, it says, if you don't get this done and paint your house in the winter, you're going to be penalized. I don't know what I'm going to be penalized for. If we're going to do something, we need to put it together. But what's the solution for this whole thing? I think what we have to do is, it's all right, we need to make the owner of the property tell the city who's occupying their property. I think that's important, not only residential but with commercial. And we need to, you know, and this is what you're trying to achieve, but we need to know who's in those houses and so forth. And last but not least, we're talking about penalties. The solution here is consider to reappeal ordinance 34 or rewrite it. Number 2, leave chapter 1327 alone. That's for points of sale inspections. And number 3, in chapter 1365 for the owners and the occupants, that should be included as long as the penalty for the tenants. I think I had 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple comments. We'll take these back to the building department, of course, but number one, the purpose of the rental ordinance was to be able to provide us with access to the rental property itself and establish a schedule of fees. But we'll go ahead and take a look. Rita, you have the floor next.
Well, like Kurt was saying, like he even did the breakdown. I guess he received a couple certified letters and plus 2 like inspections that went out. The time, the money spent in that, if the fee's gonna be $75 per year, he's already almost either, I think, over the $75. So really, you know, in the certified letters and just sending out the employees to inspect it. I mean, it just looks like we just need to just readdress it, just like I had said. And then like he touched on, the ordinance already exists for all the homes in the community for exterior.
The ordinance says for all the other homes in the community provide the right of access for our city building inspector.
And, you know, like I said to you in my email, just, you know, like, we have a lot of property here that the city owns that's not up to code, so.
No, I know.
That's all.
Shoot an answer.
Yeah, at any rate,
Those are the only 3 things.
what we're gonna do is, we're gonna take a look at it.
Okay.
And we're gonna fine tune it, and I think it's good that you really brought it up.
All right, thanks.
Well,
If
I
there's
think
not
that,
oh, go
you know,
ahead.
I just think that maybe there's some, because this is a brand new thing, we just passed sometime, you know, May of last year, so it's a new thing. I don't want to just go throwing things out. If we need to make amendments to it, and we need to address the way it's administered, something we can do, but that's to totally repealing it. It's not even a year old yet.
Yeah, Joe Deemer's gonna help me take a look at it, take into consideration what you have to say, Rita, and Scott and Dave, you're next.
And
Yes, sir.
one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kurt, you had a punch list. Do we have a punch list? You wanted some?
The punch list is
Yeah,
in there.
You went down 3 things.
So I want to just make sure that I'm looking at the right thing.
Why don't
There
you
were
send the
certain
memo
things,
lines?
yeah.
Send
I
the
mean,
memo.
maybe just write it down so,
It's listed there. Everything that we need to be looking at is in chapter 1365, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, but like at the end, you summarized everything that you thought needed to be
yeah, you
changed.
did.
Well, I did, yeah.
So-
And I only had 5 minutes.
No, but that's why we want that, so we remember.
Send us a memo, okay?
Okay, could I take just one more minute? Here's a house. I just want to show this picture. I took the picture, thanks, Ken.
That's my home.
This is a picture on 82. This house has been there. It used to be old Wargo Realty. Here it is, right here. This is the front of it. Here's pictures taken of this house, of junk in the back. And that's what you want, to get in the back of the property. It's fine. Years ago on planning, and Ken, you were there, we made them put fences up so you couldn't see the stuff in the backyard. They put the fences up. Now we're going in the backyard and tell them to clean it. Here's tires inside a lean-to. There's fences all around it. Why are we going in there and saying you gotta clean it? It's like going into somebody's closet in their house and say, clean it. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
done.
this is kind of tangential to the whole rental
It's-
property issue, but
It's not.
send us a memo on your points, okay? So I can submit it to Mr. Deemer. You know you're treated special.
And I appreciate it, and I thank you very much. And I'd rather come here, and I think you ought to make it a policy of, when you have situations like this, to bring somebody here, rather than to give them 5 minutes out there and put it on the TV where everybody hears it, and maybe you don't want them to hear it. If I were going to bash somebody, it would be better to bash them here than on TV.
Or we can also have a little
Exactly.
give and take here.
Exactly, and that's why I came here, and I appreciate it, and I think you ought to do that in the future for certain things.
Well
Thank you.
said, Kurt.
Thank you.
Scott, Dave?
Got it.